Hi guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. It's me again. It's Alex Whiteley. You're going to hear a lot more of the Biscuiteers very soon. We've done our open studios, and there's a number of shows with the Biscuiteers. They will reappear. Don't you worry. Everyone's busy doing their jobs. How dare they work a job and be selfish? You know,
you're not allowed to work.
You know, it's one of those things. Before I get into the episode, I want to say a huge thank yous to Isla and Tom from Shrewsbury Abbey. It was an amazing day yesterday. I got to climb to the top of the Abbey. My jacket is still filled. It's got dust all over it, 1,000-year-old dust. My knees are killing me. My legs are killing me because it was amazing. Climbing up all those steps, shimmying across rooftops, and walking through the bell tower, and all this. It was just amazing. One of the most amazing experiences. So thank you to those guys. Today I'm sat with Tori Davies, the founder of Saracen Solutions.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Got it right straight away. Bam, bam, bam. How are you? You good?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. So we've brought you here. Well, you guys wanted to come on. I thought it's a great opportunity to talk about how we stay safe in this current sort of climate, right?
Yeah.
Because
we can try to.
We can try, but then you end up doing silly things like climbing up a 1,000-year-old building, like me. Yeah. I think health and safety would have had a nightmare with that, but it was.
See no evil, hear no evil.
So do you want to sort of give us an introduction to what Saracen Solutions is?
Right. Saracen Solutions has been going now for 14 years. Mm-hmm. We aren't a very big company. We are very, very local as well. We deal with a lot of local companies. We do health and safety, food safety, first aid, bit of safeguarding, bit of mental health first aid. Anything really safety related. Yeah. We work with, as I said, the local companies, making sure that they've got the confidence that they can actually open up and they are looking after their employees. It's
really important, isn't it? Yeah. And it's one of those things that when you talk about health and safety in work, it's like, health and safety in work. But it's important. It really is important. So what made you want to sort of start this?
It was mainly through default, I think, as a lot of people do. Yeah. I knew that I couldn't stay in the hospitality industry. It was burning me out at 22. I was becoming a bit of an alcoholic, working 24-hour shifts. At the age of 22, I was knackered. So I was thinking, what else can I do? And I went off and took myself off and did a health and safety course, all in my spare time, my little spare time I had, and took it from there.
Oh, great. Was it, when you first started this, did it all happen at a fast pace, or was it a very slow sort of trickle for you?
It was quite a slow trickle. Yeah. I had a 6-month-old baby. Yeah. I couldn't go back into running pubs, which is what I was doing when I got pregnant with him. And I knew I couldn't do that with shift work and everything else. Their father was a prison officer, and so he was doing shift work, so it just wasn't going to work. So it was a case of, what else can I do? And work from home and look after the kids. So I didn't have any contacts. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I did it. Don't tell too many companies, because I'm still working with some of the originals.
But that's it. That's kind of like the that's the journey, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, nothing just becomes a superstar sort of business, does it? You got to trial and error, find the right people to work with. You know?
I've been through ups and downs. I've had another kid since then. I've gotten divorced. I've lost my father. I've moved in with my mother. We've moved house completely. You name it, I've probably done it. And
this is what we like to do at the Biscuit. You know, you've given me a nice file. You bring me goodies today, which is quite cool. But like this name here, Saracen Solutions, this logo, you know, all these things that you've just mentioned. Yeah, we're here to offer a story behind that name. You know, people look at Saracen and they might think, oh, you know what, Tori, she's been through it all. She knows what she's doing. She's been through trial and error.
Well, I mean, even at the moment, I broke my finger the other day.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm quite accident prone, which is sort of what I say ironic to people. Yeah, I can see the accident, or I will be the accident before it actually happens. Because I've actually worked as well. I've worked in industry. Yes. I know what corners people will cut. Yes. My dad has worked in some really big industries and some really dangerous industries that I know what corners they'll cut and how much people can sue for. And I suppose I try and stop that happening in the smaller businesses.
It's down to the individual as well, though, isn't it? I mean, like, I work in a cushy office at the moment. I mean, there are dangerous aspects to what I do. But like, I used to work at Asda, and we've all done the whizzing around in the warehouse on a pump truck, or throwing stuff around, because that's stupid, isn't it? But like,
well, I've broken my own wrist 5 times.
Wow.
One of those was falling out of a shopping trolley. One was falling out of a bath. And then I've done multiple others, but...
You'd stop falling out of things.
I know.
Don't get in things.
This was shutting my hand in the boot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was... There's nothing they can do, so yeah.
I shut my finger in the door once, and they locked the car door. And I was like, unlock the door! I just stood there, I was just trapped. I was like, unlock the door!
Oh, God. At least I had control, so I could open it very quickly. Yeah.
So out of trial and error, so you said you started this at home.
Yeah.
Do you still work from home?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've got a big enough room that there's 2 of us in there.
Nice.
I'm not always there because I'm usually out and about trying to, well, as much as I can, especially at the moment. And going, because I can't do it virtually. You have to be able to see the place. No 2 businesses are the same. I did my stint with McDonald's at one stage, and not even 2 McDonald's are the same. So it's just a bit of a comparison. People think, well, you go into one, it's exactly the same as the next one. It really isn't.
You ever walk into a place and, like, before you even got through the main door, you're like, well, that needs to go for starters.
Yeah. Often. I can almost predict sometimes what it's going to look like. And I get very surprised when it's not.
And how does it work then? So say you go to a business and you have to assess the dangers around and how they can make things safer. Is this then an ongoing communication with you guys, or do you do your job and go?
I can do both.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do both. It's easier when it's ongoing, because I will keep returning and saying, look, you did it the first time, but you've slacked off a bit.
Yeah.
Sort yourselves out, guys. Pull your socks up. Sort it out. You will get a visit at some stage. I work with a lot of food manufacturing companies as well, and they get visits from the HOs quite often, and with some of the local cafes and butcheries and farm shops, and they're the ones that get the HO visits because they like to go there to have their lunch, or they go there out of hours and then they see something wrong, so they put in a notice to somebody and say, just go and have a visit there. So it is a case of not resting on your laurels, I suppose, and people saying, well, I'm just a small business.
Yeah.
I'm just in an office. You don't know when they're going to walk through that door.
Yeah. I mean...
Or who's going to trip over.
I think when you go to okay, this is going to sound really weird. The humdrum sort of, to the rat race, back to work, home, work, home, work, home, work, blah, blah, blah. You kind of forget, don't you?
Yeah.
You kind of go into work and you just kind of like, don't want to be, I don't care. I've been in that situation before, and you don't care about safety.
Think about April and how we all said, we're never going to go back to the rat race. We're just going to work from home. We're not going to get into this stupid, busy kind of lifestyle again. What's going on out there? We're all back to normal. We're not keeping our distance. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. You know what I mean? And we've gone back to it straight away.
We'll get into COVID because I do want to talk about it. But I wanted to ask a question first. I like how I put this. How do you deal with the Michael Scotts of the world? And what I mean by that, if you've ever seen The American Office, by the way,
no, I haven't.
It's say like you're doing a course and you've got people around, and you've got the manager there who won't be told what to do, and he's interrupting you, and you know. There's got to be some stubborn people out there just won't be told what to do. How do you deal with that?
I for a start, I don't belittle them, because that is the worst thing. I mean, I've had some really, really, I suppose a polite way of putting them is arrogant.
Yeah.
Think they know more than I do, which they might do. I don't know everything, and there's no way I can. I go along with it. I then shut them up. And quite often I'll ask them questions and make them answer them and sort of put them in the spotlight and
sort of show that actually you don't really know what you're talking about. You need to listen. This is what you got me here for.
You know some of it, but not maybe all of it.
Yeah.
I don't know all of it, but I know more of it than you do, and that's why you're here.
Yeah.
I have to be retrained on a regular basis on what I do, so I still don't know everything. But when I go into the training that I'm on, I still can't tell them I know everything, but I'll know bits and pieces that they won't know.
And what's the kind of hoovering outside? Nice. The most common sort of businesses you deal with, and warehouses, offices.
I've got a lot of offices on my books. I deal with farms.
Farms? Oh, wow. Okay.
People forget about farms. I've got some farm shops alongside the cafes that they've got on site as well. I'm sure they won't mind me mentioning them. Battlefield 1403.
Yeah.
I work with them.
Great place.
Yeah, it is. And I work with some really big food manufacturing companies that...
Zonut John with his Hoover. I love John. He's great. So I'll forgive him. Forgive him.
No, I work with some really big... what look like some really big food manufacturing companies. There's Flour and White, the meringues.
Okay.
Yep. I deal with them in a big way. Cooper's, the sausage rolls.
Yeah.
I work with them, and they're actually quite small businesses, but they produce a lot of food.
And it must be hard to not come across as the bad guy in some situations, right? Because you might be changing someone's complete whole technique of how they do something by going and saying, actually, this is wrong. You need to be careful.
That's where I work with people.
Yeah,
I don't actually go in all guns blazing. As you probably noticed, I don't wear suits.
No,
I don't go in suited and booted. I don't go in with my clipboard. I am a person that has worked in the industry, understand business.
Yeah.
If they have to stop working, they can't afford to pay me.
Exactly, yeah.
So I need to keep them working, and I need to keep them happy. So it is, and I need to keep the HSE happy as well. So it's working together. I will never go in saying, right, well, unless, of course, it's completely dangerous. I'll never go and say, right, stop everything now.
No.
I have been close a couple times because I've had chemicals flying around and I've had fires about to start, and it's just no.
I could just imagine the manager like, okay, we've got somebody coming in from Saracen Solutions to talk about health and safety. Don't do anything silly.
Oh, they do though. Every time I will get people, I'll do, say, a 2 or 3 day first aid course, and it'll be over a couple of weeks. And every time they've come back, they said, we've had our first accident last week in between. And I'm like the kiss of death at times, but it's because they're looking for things and they finally see it happening.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
It really is necessary.
It is. And it's making people realise that all they have to do is spend half an hour just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because quite often it is just moving some wires out of the way, moving the arrangement of the desks. It's nothing major. Or making sure you've got some fire extinguishers. There's a lot of legal stuff behind it. I don't do legislation unless I have to. I know how to write it.
Okay, but I did write down here legislation, keeping everything paper tight so nothing falls back on you.
Yeah, I can do that, but if you were to ask me to quote legislation now, I couldn't do that.
Yeah. I
know what's in it.
Yeah.
I know what we have to go by, but I couldn't give you the actual quotes of each law. But that's not what I'm there for.
It's you got to stick to your skill set. I keep talking about the CIC thing. It's happening, but I'm useless. We are changing to a CIC. I'm speaking to Chris Goff from CGR Solutions, Business Solutions, great guy. And I'm not good with business numbers, things like this microphone here. That's what I'm good at. This is what I want to do. Right?
You see, I love business.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why I do what I do, because I love. And quite often when I'm in a business, I'll say, well, you can get more out of your workforce if you do it this way. Because health and safety-wise, if you do something a bit safer, they're more likely to stay.
Exactly.
They're not going to injure themselves. They're not going to put an insurance claim on you. You're not going to have that fear that they can put that insurance claim on you.
Yeah.
And that's what the big one is. And
does that cause a bit of complacency as well sometimes? Once you really, when you think you've got it all nailed down and nothing can happen, it's fine, everything's safe.
I will never say to people that I can completely stop anything from happening because they come to me saying, right, well, we won't get any claims then. I said, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because there's no way.
Some people are just accident prone. Like, I don't understand how I'm not dead right now. I'm staring at the Shrewsbury Abbey now, the book they gave me, and I'm looking at it and I don't know how I didn't fall off, honestly. It's for a health and safety person.
Well, I mean, I've just told you I've broken my own arm 5 times. I've got a broken finger now.
Oh, there's a picture, an amazing picture of Isla who took me up, and there's this door that goes out onto one of the sort of the long roof that runs along the Abbey, and it's a small hole I had to climb through. And as I'm climbing through, there's a wasp attacking my hand. I don't know how. Sorry, I'm.
No, well, what you don't realise is that I also work with the Scouts.
Oh, okay.
I used to be a Scout leader.
Fantastic. That's great.
I keep bees. I do lots of other things as well. I've got 2 kids, and
Tori, you are amazing.
I think so.
Wow.
Well, you've got to be busy, haven't you?
Yeah. I like that though.
Yeah.
I agree. You need to be busy. Everybody's whenever I'm feeling a bit down and a bit low, because the listeners of this show will probably realise now I have like a 3-week on and 1 week off basis where I work like heaven nail, just bam for 3 weeks. I don't know if that was the right saying, but anyway. And then the 1 week I'll just be completely lethargic, lying on the sofa, don't care, not answering emails because
never have time to do that.
No, and people are like, you need to take a break. Now, during those times, I'm still in the studio and I'm still doing my stuff, but I'm just really lethargic and really tired. And people are like, just take a break, just take a break. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means to take a break.
Even a holiday for me is like camping or self-catering. So it's not just going and putting my feet up. And with 2 kids as well, you just can't.
When I went to, where did I go? I think we went to Corfu. Or was it Egypt? No, it was.
I can't remember.
No, it was Morocco. I went to Morocco. I took a microphone and my laptop with me.
Yeah. I always take my laptop. It goes everywhere. And because it's mainly me, my phone comes with me, and that's my business phone.
Yeah, it doesn't switch off.
No.
Yeah.
I've just, yeah.
Now we'll break into it now. We'll do it. We'll open that bottle. COVID. So February, March was just the whole world was thrown into turmoil.
Yep.
And a lot of businesses really suffered. Did you have? Was there a fallout for you as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, I have to go out and about.
Yeah.
And obviously, I couldn't.
Yes.
Part of my retainer that I keep with a lot of businesses is that I visit them regularly. Couldn't do that. So I did. I cut all my retainers straight away. I just thought, look, we all need a bit of help. So I did that straight away. I looked into it, and as we were coming out of it, I realised that they needed my help again, so I picked it up. I was always there, ready for them, but I then started getting the risk assessments ready for people, getting floor plans ready for people, and just making sure that they had the paperwork so that if any official walked in, then they would actually be able to say, right, okay, this is what we've done, this is how we've done it. And a lot of what I do is proving it.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, yeah, we do X, Y, and Z, but it's actually writing it down and having the time to write it down in a way that they want to see it.
Yeah, and I think it was just a weird situation where everybody's had to. People were so fascinated with kind of their own little bubbles, and whether they were safe and stuff. It must have been hard for people to feel safe in knowing what other people are doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like kind of like,
yeah, it does.
People were so upset. I mean, the toilet roll #toilet gate.
God.
That was just crazy. That was just
but it happened again a few weeks ago.
It's just an illustration. And do you know what? Actually, yes, it did. And I remember I was in Home Bargains. I was buying some stationery. And I was looking for the trolleys full of toilet rolls,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I saw a lot of individuals with toilet rolls. I don't think it was a case of people filling up toilet rolls. They'd heard that this is possibly going to happen again. They're like, well, I'm going to go get some toilet roll before this happens.
Yeah, and it's just everybody doing it at once.
Yeah. But so that is that was a massive indicator that people are just scared about their own situation. Yeah. And they're not really thinking of others and communication. It must have been quite scary for business owners as well, because if you think about it on a whole, like that's your enterprise. That's what you do. Like,
I mean, for me, it was a case of I was having to phone people up and say, "Are you open? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Because, especially at the moment, it's what area are you in?
Yeah.
Are you open? Are you not? Can I get in? Can I not? Mm. Do you want me there?
Yeah, because the last thing on their mind was, I need to ring Tori, make sure we're okay. Yeah.
Well, until they think, right, okay, I've got to get the paperwork done. But I've got some businesses down in Birmingham, some in London, and it's a case of, well, I can't get there.
Yes.
What do you want me to do? I can't physically get to you.
And what was your personal situation like? Were you shielding? Were you just
I had
locked down? Or
one shielding, and I live with my mother, who's a bit older.
Vulnerable, yeah.
Yeah, so I had both.
Difficult.
Yeah. I mean, because it's just me, I did actually put myself in isolation for a couple of days at one stage because I wasn't feeling 100%. And I think everybody had it going through their head that, okay, I'm not feeling brilliant. What's going on?
I get out of breath now. I'm like, I've got it. I've got it.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I suppose we were all really lucky with the fresh air and the brilliant sunshine we had.
Shropshire's just been great.
Yeah. I mean, I've also been doing a lot of mental health courses.
Okay.
Trying to get businesses back up and running with with knowing what to look for in people's mental health.
Ah, that's really interesting because we've been talking a lot about mental health, domestic abuse, things like that, but like meetings are still happening on Zoom and things like that. So it'd be good to know, especially when my wife works at home, and it'd be nice for her employer to know that she's okay when she's so far away. Yeah.
It's what signs to look for is what I'm teaching people, and what words to listen for. And you think, well, it's just common sense. A lot of what I do should just be common sense, but it's not for some people. Yeah, and it's a tricky one,
especially with Zoom. I mean, there are the obvious signs, like turn up with messy hair and what's dust around your mouth and beans down your t-shirt and just like in a dressing gown, like
I've just gotten out of bed.
Like that's an obvious sign, I guess. But
no, it's what words to listen out for.
Yeah,
have they been out that day? Have they been out that week? I mean, I got a bit worried about my own mum at one stage because she was not leaving the house. She wouldn't leave the house. She was too scared. I have a nephew that he did the same thing. He wouldn't leave the house.
Yeah. Scary times.
Yeah.
Scary
and he was
times.
only 14.
Yeah.
So it is. It's.
But that age is the pivotal social. I was going to say climax then, but it's the development stage.
It's when it all hits.
That is climax. I suppose is the right word because that's when you learn how to be who you're going to be, right?
Well, exactly.
So I mean, my little boy was in reception. He's in year 1 now, but he was in reception, and it all ended. And I felt so sad for him because he's, that was his first year in school.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've got a 12 and a 15-year-old, and the people around them were meant to be doing exams. The 12-year-old, well, they both just started new schools.
SATs, things like that.
Yeah. They both just started new schools. They didn't do them. They'd been there for a term, so they couldn't get any friends, really. But they've bounced back, thank God.
Yeah. And when the world has started opening again, stores started to open, businesses were going kind of back to normal with a lot of people working at home, but still producing things, right?
Yeah.
Warehouse is still pumping out, especially like the e-commerce, like all these kind of things. They're still making stuff. People still selling stuff, just on a different thing. So how does that affect you?
Well, initially it was finding out who's still in the business because I deal with a lot of office managers, and I found that fair few have actually lost their jobs, which was a bit frightening for them, I would have thought.
Yes, of course.
I think some of them were due to leave over the next couple of years, but their retirement was brought forward. And I've had to go in and do things about working from home.
It was a terrible ordeal for a lot of companies that just disappeared. That probably might not even come back. I don't know.
I didn't lose any companies.
Good.
So I haven't lost any. None of the companies I work with have gone, which is a big bonus. I have been dealing with companies that actually stayed open throughout. But again, they didn't tell me that at one stage. But I have, as I said,
back to that bubble.
Yeah, and it's a case of we just literally dug our heads down and.
Yeah, and when it comes to the information we were being dealt with right from the very beginning, I've just written. I haven't even got into details on my notes here. I've just written misdirection.
Misdirection, change of direction.
Yeah.
Every day there was a change.
Yes.
I was doing plans for pubs and things, and we were doing it 1 meter distancing, 2 meter distancing, no getting up. Oh yeah, they can get up for this. And I had about 5 different plans for one place. And it was a case of, oh my God, what are we doing? And trying to work out so they could have as many covers as they needed, trying to basically juggle it so that they could keep as many people in there as possible, get as many staff in as possible, and keep it all running.
Do you think in a few years, maybe a couple of years, we're going to hear some real horror stories about how things were done during this era with companies, especially with like I mean, I spoke to Jess from Pure Rain. You know,
Yeah.
She's put lots of care into this product that she's released with the Pure hand sanitizer and stuff. But there are probably companies out there that really didn't care. They just need to get this out as quick as possible. So do you think in a couple of years we're going to probably see a few lawsuits where it's like, actually, yes, there was a pandemic. Yes, we need these things quickly. But what the hell were you thinking when you made this? You know?
I'm not even waiting a couple of years. No. I reckon there's some going now.
Yeah.
I know some companies that are sort of being boycotted a bit.
Yeah.
Because they're not putting anything in place. Some restaurants haven't done as much as other people are comfortable with, so people aren't going there. Yeah. And shops, if they're too crowded, I've heard of even supermarkets, people preferring one over the other because they're actually feeling safer in one rather than the other.
Yes.
So it is going to affect everybody at some stage.
Yeah.
It's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, I'm having to ride the storm a bit like everybody else, and not looking at my books because if I look at them I get fed up because what I can't see doesn't hurt me, but you know what I mean. It's one of those that we need to keep going on as normally as possible, realizing that things are still happening, still looking after each other, not just taking people on because you have to, and not thinking, well, I can't let them go because they need a job, but you need to keep it
thinking
right.
about things properly. I mean, we've got a sponsor, one desperate to sponsor us, but I can't do it until we've got the CIC stuff done. So we can do it legitimately.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, this is a metaphor, but I always bring it back. I need to write that thing again. It's not about you, Whiteley, but it's I like to relate to myself to.
But that's why you do this.
God, I don't even know where I was going with that now. No, some people would just jump to the gun and they'd be like, yes, I want the money. And they wouldn't think about that. And, you know, when you think about that on an industrial basis, you know, people are like, oh, we're going to make hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to test it? Test it?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's a bit like the people that were selling gym equipment at the very beginning of all this.
Face masks.
And it's...
anything, you know, yeah.
And they said, right, we can make some money. Instead of thinking, right, okay, how are we going to do it so it's safe? How are we going to do it so that we actually come out the other end with all fingers and all toes?
Yeah. But that's all the negative. The positive. Let's talk about how have there been some things you've seen about companies that have just blown your mind? That, wow, I never even thought about this. Like, well done, you've adapted.
Often.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, Battlefield, classic one.
Yeah.
They're doing takeaway meals, and they've always done a few.
Yeah.
But not many. They've adapted. They've expanded. They've managed to sort themselves out and everything else, and it's just brilliant what they've done. I work with some egg farmers, and they have just had to keep going and keep going. No matter how many staff they've got, you can't stop the chickens from laying. Farmers keep on going. They've been adapting. I've seen yoga retreats opening up.
Yes.
Because they've got barns that they've had to empty for one reason or another, and so they're saying, what can we do with them? And it's people. I mean, I'm having to go online a lot more. I've had to. I'm having to revamp my website at the moment so that I can put a lot of my documents actually online so people can get hold of them themselves. So, because they don't want to pay for an actual consultant, but they know that they still need what I do.
Yes.
So I am putting them online, and I am trying to get it all up and running, and it's just mind-blowing what everybody's doing.
Yeah, I think it's been one of the best things, one of the most things I've talked about. And, like, you know, this is what we offer as a show, you know, is that the fact that let's talk about people that are just going to straight out the gate. You know, we spoke to the Royal British Legion, for example. Bam, we're gonna get our clients online, and we're going to speak to them like that. You know, Kat Merrick. I'm going to get on do some yoga online.
Yeah.
You know, and then Seasons. We're going to start delivering food, which we've never done before. Seven Social turn into a drive-through. You know, things like it was just amazing. But does it affect health and safety? Is it as a quick idea like that dangerous in the way that?
You need to think about it.
Yes.
You do need to think about the health and safety side of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I also do the food safety side of it, and which is another thing that some of these businesses do need to think about.
Yeah.
Because there is a different aspect to it with takeaway as there is to selling in-house.
Yes.
But it's nominal.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure these companies did everything right, by the way.
Yeah.
That wasn't a dig. I'm just
No.
Yeah.
It's just a case of, right, well, to begin with, making sure that you've thought about it, and then somewhere down the line actually making sure it's written down. Because that's what the officials want to see. And no matter how deep or dangerous you are, they want to see it written, and written in a certain format. There is no specific format given out there, but they want it. They know. I know how they want it written, with which words in it, and that's really what the trick is.
Yeah,
it's a bit like every industry. You've got a few tricks of the trade.
The things that I'm not great at. Like, I was speaking to Chris about the forms. I feel like one of the forms sent it to me, and he was like, No. That needs to be changed. No, Alex.
No, I was having my accounts gone through yesterday, and apparently I have done double bookkeeping or something on a lot of it, and it's going to make my books look a lot better. So
on some of the forms, I'll look at the questions and I'm like, okay, in what context am I going to answer this?
Yeah, but if you turn the page upside down, sometimes it makes more sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, because I have the same thing. I do a lot of accreditation for people as well. I fill out the forms for people and make sure they've got the documents that they need for them. And a lot of the time, it is literally tick boxing, but I will only tick those boxes if I know that they're already doing it.
Absolutely. Does this job create overthinking, or does it have the reverse effect? Does it a case of? In
some people, it does create overthinking.
Yeah.
I've seen risk assessments for licking stamps, using Tipp-Ex, cost sheets for using Tipp-Ex.
Cost sheets, yeah.
Yeah, being told that you need to wear goggles, gloves, aprons, and some masks and wellies for washing up liquid. This was pretty much when I started out. They have calmed it down a lot, but it was there.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't go to that extreme. To be honest with you, it bores me when it goes to that extreme.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear you say that, actually. Because, like we said from the very beginning, and I didn't want to downplay what we're talking about, but, people think about health and safety. They think of that boring poster you'd see in work with all the writing on it.
And a big folder, for, not just the one, but about 4 or 5 of them. And yes, okay, I do produce those big boring folders, but I try and produce them so that they know what they're doing with them, and that they do actually say what they're doing. But it is a case of just try and make it simple.
It's one of those necessary, mundane things. You have to pay attention.
And people don't talk about it, so that's why it is so difficult to find somebody like myself sometimes. Even though I've been local for 14 years, I bet there are loads of people that haven't heard of me. I've been with the Chamber of Commerce, I've been with all these other people, but they still haven't heard of me because people don't talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's important, like you said, I did. We do because I work in an office. We do e-training on how to sit at an office. Yeah. How to sit on a desk. Sorry. How to sit at a desk. How to drive your car. There's one how to drive your car without giving yourself an injury. It's just crazy.
I mean, a lot of e-training is. I'm not a complete believer in it because I don't believe that you can learn as much online like that as you can face to face.
Well, a lot of people just be like, next.
I'm one of the worst at it. I'm doing a course at the moment and we're doing it via Zoom. After 10 minutes, you find me fiddling with things and playing and yawning.
I'm a big fiddler. I am a big fiddler. When I'm doing things like that, I'm kind of like, you see me messing with my pen here, but that's kind of just, that's my motivator, I guess. But like, you can't...
You're checking your emails and you're doing anything but listening.
Yeah. I should actually with these interviews. I shouldn't sit here with my laptop open. It looks really weird. There's nothing on screen. Right. But it's hard to pay attention sometimes when it is mundane and it's one of those things that you'd rather be doing anything else. But so it's good that you've got someone like you that will come in and be like, well, we're not going to make it boring. We're going to do what we need to do, and I'm going to make sure it's done right. Yeah,
and that's I suppose what I like to get across. I don't like putting adverts out. I don't like people reading what I do because a lot of what I do is me. Yeah. And I am quite a normal person. I like to do things so that it's not mundane. I don't do paperwork for paperwork's sake. If I think that you need to do something, I'll tell you this is what I think you need to do. But at the end of the day, it's up to you how far you want to take it.
Have you ever walked into a business and gone, it's like it's terrible. And you're like, here's my card. Get in touch.
I have, please.
Yeah.
We're
not going to mention. We're not going to mention.
No, we won't mention any names. But sometimes it's a case of, have you ever thought about just what you're doing. Quite often it's food hygiene aspects, because that's more obvious sometimes. I have seen some bits of equipment that I'm thinking, no, that really has to go.
Yeah.
It's a bit old. I had a photo sent through to me the other day, and I'm thinking, no, you really can't use that on site.
That chopping board's got livestock in the middle.
Yeah. And by the way, what you see at my house, you don't actually report on, because what I do at home is mine.
Well, this is what I've written down here. Being responsible 100% of the time. Is it a conscious thing for you that if somebody could see you doing something a little bit silly, maybe, and you'd be like, go against your credibility?
I think it might do.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to be human. You've got to do your own thing.
I try not to do anything really stupid. How's that? Or against the law.
Yeah.
I do stupid things, like I keep bees, so I go into beehives. You know what I mean? I have 2 dogs, and we play with them and whatever else we need to do. I used to ride horses, so that was another stupid thing I did. I'm a practical person.
It's not stupid.
In Scouts, I will just tell the kids to go and get dirty and go and have fun.
Yeah.
But do it safely. Just don't kill yourselves.
I remember there was a...
Sorry.
No, I think it's really important. I think it's important because...
I believe in being normal and doing things.
Yeah. Because when it comes to somebody that is like known for doing a certain thing or not doing a certain thing, should I say, when they see people doing it, it's kind of like, oh, look, how much, you know...
Yeah.
But
don't eat food that's obviously off.
Yeah.
Don't use saws without the guards down. You know what I mean? Just don't do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't predict for stupid people.
Yes. I say yes, but I'm probably one of those stupid people, to be honest. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, working in hospitality, we had a lot of drunks.
Yeah.
And I worked in some big hotels, and people got drunk very, very often. And so they'd fall downstairs, and then they'd blame you or whatever else, and they'd break something, and they'd still blame the hotel because they hadn't put a handrail on the stairs. But nothing to do with the fact that they were absolutely blind drunk. You know what I mean? So you can't... Obviously, we won that one. But you can't predict for that.
No, absolutely not. And you've got to be you.
Yeah.
You know, like I said earlier when we were talking about, you know, doing stupid things at work, like people, it's all down to the individual, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can't say... You can say to somebody till you're blue in the face, don't do it. And they'll still do it.
Yeah.
One company I worked with had 3 tops of fingers off 3 different people, off one conveyor belt in 3 months. And it was just stupidity.
Yeah.
And the one saw the other do it, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, he went and did it.
Yeah.
So...
People do silly things. I do it all the time.
Exactly.
A woman nearly T-boned me in Telford the other day because she was in the wrong lane, decided to go the way I was going, which wasn't the way she was supposed to go, and
I mean,
people do
that happens often with me, and it's a case of, oh, really? But then you're thinking, well, I really shouldn't be on my phone in the car, and I don't do that.
No.
And it's things like that, and I see people on their phone in the car and things like that, and I'm thinking, just
that drives
don't.
Me crazy. That drives me crazy.
And there are stupid things that I say to people, look, no. And then I go abroad and I see even worse things, so it makes it easier.
What's the future looking like for you?
I'm growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my kids are now of an age where I can just let them finally go. I've got time to actually do more work, and I'm just growing. And I've taken on Jess, as you know.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to take on other people as and when I get the more work in, and
Jess is fantastic. I think she's great, and I really don't like the interview that I released of hers because it was a day when I wasn't quite 100%. You know, I like to be honest with things I do in this show, and I was kind of like, I feel like an interview. Whereas
wasn't it on a Sunday?
It was on a Sunday, and I wasn't quite with it. I think I'd just woken up because I do night shifts, so I've just woken up, and I was just kind of like. So Jess, if you listen to this, we need to redo something. We need to do something that's a bit more fun and not as...
She's told me she'll listen to this because I listen to hers and she won't listen to it. She's the same as me about listening to your own voice. We hate it.
You get used to it after a bit. I mean, I used to hate my voice, but I kind of... Yeah, it's desensitized now. I listen to it too much.
For me, it's more the accent. I can't stand my accent.
Okay, so accents are really important, and I do know people that don't like their own accents and their own voices and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think once you get to realising that's you.
Yeah, oh no. Well, no,
That
it's
is
me
you.
and my mum.
Yeah?
My mum and I have got the same accent.
Yeah?
Yeah. But they still are unique. I was called a farmer for many years.
Yeah, but that's you though. That's
Yeah,
you. That's your
exactly.
individual,
Yeah.
your identity.
Absolutely.
And you say you wanted to try maybe a bit of podcasting. But let's
Yeah.
talk about that. What,
Yeah.
if you were going to make a podcast? What would you make it about?
Well, the idea at the moment is to make it about Saracen.
Yeah.
It's going to be about Saracen and the business and health and safety, food safety, whatever I feel like talking about. Bringing some business people in, some of the people I already work with,
Yeah.
and just generally having chats, because I have noticed that there isn't a lot out there.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be formal. It wouldn't be, this is the law, this is how you have to do it. It would be more a case of, right, okay, today I went on to that farm and this is what we did.
It'd be good actually to get like the stiff suits out there that would be formal and just get them relaxed and see
Yeah.
what they look like when
Yeah.
they're not like walking around in a suit and being like.
I mean, when I started doing this job 14 years ago, I'd say there was about 2 women in the room, and I was one of them, of a room of about 30 or 40. And all the men would be suited and booted and with their shiny shoes and whatever else and ties. And then I'd be there, and quite often, well, at one stage I was very, very pregnant. And it was a case of, I can still do the job. I still know as much as you do. It's just tough.
Yeah.
I'm just a woman.
I am here.
Yeah, but it took a long time to get in there and actually make them realise that we still knew what we were talking about.
Well, times have changed, haven't they?
Yeah.
Times have changed.
It's
a lot.
amazing how they've changed over these few years.
Yeah.
Because if you say 14 years, it doesn't sound like that much.
No,
But if you see how it's... I mean, I started off mailing stuff out to people, actual physical post. And now, if you don't do anything like that...
Nope,
No.
not at all.
But I think it's slowly going back there. I think we're going back to... Or we were before COVID.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a mixture of things happening, isn't
Yeah.
there? I mean, obviously, we're using technology more now to communicate, but there's also there's a lot of people not being able to get out and about, like we discussed, and so like to communicate. A letter is a great thing to get in through the post and make you feel a bit better. So yeah,
People because they're stuck at home on their own. They like to get the post and see something else there rather than a screen, because that's all we're seeing at the moment.
Screens, yeah, screens. They've got
Yeah.
millions of them around us.
I've got 3 in front of me on my desk. Usually I have the telly on one and 2 lots of documents on the other.
Yeah, I keep getting headaches because that's all I'm doing at the moment is looking at screens. Whereas my phone, my laptop.
Get your eyes tested.
Well, I'm sensitive to light, so
Yeah.
that's what the screens hurt my head. But I'm supposed to wear glasses, but I'm already a bald guy who's short and fat, and so with glasses, I don't want to add to the list, So I mean, there are glasses in my glove box in my car. I'm supposed to be wearing, but no, maybe
Health and safety in me says, wear your glasses.
Yeah.
Common sense says,
it's
stick them on your head
common
like
sense.
me.
Yeah.
Mine
I
stay
know.
on my head, don't worry about it.
My mum would have the same. She wear your glasses, Alex. Tori, you've been amazing. And
Thank you.
as a friend now, we've broken the ice. I'd like to offer any help if you start any podcast.
That'd
If you
be
need
brilliant.
any advice,
Thank
I was
you very
chatting to Dave from the '90s revival last night. He was kind of like, "How do I do this?" And I was kind of like, "Well, you're doing it wrong for starters. Do it this way instead." So any advice you
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, it'd be brilliant.
need. Would you like to tell people if they just started a new business
Yeah.
and they would like to get in touch with you, how they can?
They can get in touch with me through Facebook. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, or through my website, which is www.saracensolutions.co.uk.
Yeah, and Saracen is spelled Saracen.
As in the rugby club.
Yes. Is that where you got the name from?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. Good insider information there.
There you go.
You've been great. Thank you
you.
so much. Listeners, that was great. But I would like to give you... go to my website and have a look, okay? I'm going to get really, direct with this. It's www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. That was made for us by the guys at Web Orchard. If you need a website, make sure you check them out. They're great. They're getting a lot of a good reputation at the moment. So make sure you check them out. This web, this see even the pros have problems with this episode has been brought to you from the Parade Shops, and it's behind St. Mary's. It's a beautiful building. In fact, I was looking at it from top of the Abbey like, oh, that's my studio. But the place is amazing. It's constantly changing. I come in this week and now Birgitta's put like Christmas lights around the door. I'm like, oh, this place is amazing. Christmas.
It's not.
It's
Christmas.
coming.
It's not.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming, and we're going to make it as good as we can make it. Christmas is definitely not cancelled this year. There's so much going on. The carols on the doorstep is going to be amazing as well. We spoke to Beth about that. There's so much going on at Christmas. The parade is a good place to come and visit, so make sure you do. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and we will catch you guys next time.
Thank you.
Peace out.